Hey, Scott, thank you for that fine introduction as always. Jamie, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Andy, but if all of a sudden I fall silent over here, it's only because I've had a heat stroke. So,
Yeah,
just get somebody to
that's
come
what I'm
throw some water on me or something.
that's what I'm hearing. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And I have to say this just in case. I'm not expecting any disruption, but we do have one of those isolated Texas thunderstorm moving over my house right now. So if for some reason I go blank, you'll understand why, but I think we'll be just fine. Thanks everybody for showing up today. As always, we have some content for you that will help you become better traders. That is our wish, and I know with this software and the support that you get here, I know it does exactly that. And because we've heard too many great testimonies, but let's dive into it real quick. First, let's handle the disclaimer here, guys. This Jamie and I will be talking about some stuff today, and but just want you to know that it's all for educational purposes only. All right, we're going to go over a very cool software for those of you who are in here for the first time, show you how powerful it is, and also go over our Holly extensively. That's our artificial intelligence, but just keep in mind that nothing should be construed as investment advice, okay? This is strictly for educational purposes only. If that's what you're seeking, you might want to look for a broker or somebody qualified in that capacity, someone who's licensed. All right, before we move on, let's talk about our 5-star support, education, and training here. Guys, this software is very powerful, but it's very intuitive, and that is our job here at that we pride ourselves on at Trade Ideas, to show you how to take the reins on this powerful software and how to make it your own and make it to basically own it. And just we have so much educational and training stuff here. It's in 1 week you're going to have such a great grasp of the product. 4 webinars a week in the same time slot. Okay, that's usually myself, Jamie, and Steve Gomez are paired up on those. We do have one on Wednesday with Dan and Brad Williams. That's our CEO and CTO, and they will walk you through a lot of the new features coming up, and also it's a great Q&A place. Friday support session, guys. We open this up for 3 hours starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time. This is a come one, come all Q&A. There's no presentation like you're going to experience today. We're just going to dive right in and let you ask the questions, and we're going to answer them. And let me not forget that, oh boy, I would be gravely remiss if I forgot the traders room, and with Barry Arneson. He's going to be in there for you guys. There's going to be about 500 other traders in there. If you haven't gotten in there yet, do so. It's a great hangout, and not only that, it's free for everyone, and you can check out our software, and not only that, listen to Barry's calls as he navigates the software, the market, and with the software. Great hangout. One last thing, our TI University. This has replaced the one-on-ones that we used to do several months ago. Okay, we got too big for that. So we put together this TI University, and it's 4 separate courses, all starting at 12 Eastern time, running Monday through Thursday. And you can see there the classes just kind of graduate up each day until the final day, which is today, when you have Jamie Hodge teaching the advanced portion of our class. Get in there. Okay, it's something you do have to register for. So once you get hooked up with Trade Ideas, make sure you follow the links. If you don't have a registration for it, you can just go to our website, find training down at the footer section of any page.
I'm gonna go ahead and drop that link in the chat for everybody, Andy.
That's a great idea, Jamie. He's going to drop that link, Marco, since you asked for it there. But for those of you guys who want to know, you can always find it in our footer section on any page of our website at trade-ideas.com. All right, let's move forward and look at the agenda for today. Now, before we do that, let's talk about Brokerage Plus, because this is growing. More and more people are wanting to develop their own strategies and automate their trading using our Brokerage Plus module and hooking up to interactive brokers. If you want more information about that, I'm not going to go too much into it right now, but you can look at trade-ideas.com/beta. All right, now we can go to the agenda for today. We're going to talk about the market recap. There's been like a 3-day battle over, over the last 3 days. Well, that makes sense, 3-day battle. Yeah, fighting it out. We're going to have to see what happens here coming up. Tomorrow may be the day which we pick a direction, but we'll talk about that when we get into it. Holly recap. Some good stuff there in a very sloppy market. There's some really good opportunity, and I will go through some of it, and Jamie will dissect a few of the trades. And then we're going to talk about a strategy called the vault. I know many of you in this room today have heard of the vault, and you guys are just waiting with anticipation each day for that strategy to fire off an alert. For those of you guys who are in it for the first time, you're going to see a treat. And this has been a very successful strategy, and I will kind of dissect that today, kind of go into it. Not so much the formula, obviously, that's proprietary, and we're going to keep that to ourselves, but we will look at some of the alerts that are coming out of there and get a real good idea of what it's looking for. All right, with that said, let's back out and let's talk about the market recap. And to do that, I like to pull up a big chart of the SPYs, and you'll see what I'm talking about on the 3-day battle here. And you can see it there. We've been trying to fight back to these highs set back in January now for, wow, 7 months. So a lot of back and forth action. We finally kind of broke out of this wedge we were forming for a while, and we're trying to creep higher toward this all-important all-time highs over here set back in January. Now, like much price action does, we expended some energy to get here, and now we're kind of resting back and forth as the bulls and the bears fight out. Typically, when you get a pattern like this, that is a sign of strength, to have a move like this and just go sideways versus pulling back maybe down to these moving averages. So we'll have to see what happens, but nonetheless, it's nothing bearish about this chart. We have been waiting all summer, maybe to eventually take out these highs, and we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. And it may not be till next week. And everybody's assuming we have to go and test that, and in most cases we do, but making assumptions in the markets can be very expensive at times. So be careful with making assumptions. So let's take a look at the Qs real quick. And of course, they're flirting with their highs that they set back last month. They're way above their January highs. And IWM. And same thing with it. You got forming, like you can see there, kind of a little wedge again there. Tried to break through it today and came right back down. So their highs are going back to June's. Diamonds are probably going to be less impressive. You can see they're still quite a ways away from their markup here, horizontal line from their all-time highs. But remember, this only comprises of about 30 stocks. So if you have 2 or 3 that are really weak, it can really affect the whole chart pattern. So we don't really put too much emphasis on the diamonds anymore. But a lot of people, news networks still want to talk about the Dow. So we have to give them a little bit of focus, I guess. Mr. Hodge, anything you want to add to the market recap?
No, it's just going to be interesting to see, hey, what's going to happen overnight? Are we going to gap up to that level? Are we going to butt up to it tomorrow? Who knows? We've all got front row seats though, so
That's right.
At least there's a little anticipation, a little excitement, or hey, we might do exactly what we've been doing these past 3 days for the next 5 trading days. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like I said, you can't assume anything, but we followers of price action. That's we let the tape dictate our action. We don't try to predict too much. All right, so let's dive into Holly. Now, I will say today we did have a small little glitch, and it was because we were trying to increase the speed of our segment movement. So in other words, when you clicked on it would just react a lot quicker, and it kind of threw off our didn't really throw up our numbers. All the numbers in the AI strategies windows is correct, but if you looked in the channel bar, you would see a discrepancy on a couple of the segments. Yeah, Holly 2.0 and Holly Neo, there was a discrepancy. These are the correct numbers right here that you see in your histogram, risk on, risk off. The vault, I'll save that for, well, Jamie, of course, has, he can go over a few of these trades if he wants to, but, and of course, I'll be asking Jamie to pitch in when he can, when I start talking about the vault, because he's very knowledgeable on these AI strategies. But impressive day, Jamie, nonetheless, when you look at the market, when you look at the spiders in a 15-minute chart, and we've been seeing this now for 3 days, this back and forth swap sold off at the end, but it hasn't stopped Holly from really performing well the last 3 days. You notice that?
It has not. It has not. I mean, and once we do get into the Holly, I mean, like for example, Neo, huge profit at one point. I think, what was it, 4 and change or whatever?
Oh yeah.
And then just that pullback, which is also a testament to this market that you're seeing here, right? But anyway, not cart before the horse there.
That's a good point that you made, because I want to before I pass it on, I'm going to tell you what Jamie is referring to. Guys, put yourself in as a trader, okay? When you see this kind of move, and we're talking about some huge max profit here, when we get up around $4, and of course these are going to, stocks are going to pull back with the market. So when you see this action, you see the market not going anywhere, and you see that you have this kind of profit. This is where man with machine pays off, all right, where you can kind of, dictate when you're going to exit a trade versus waiting for Holly to give you the signal, okay? You have eyes on the market. You have eyes on the stock's peers and all the different things that you use to navigate the market. So, so even though you look at the end of the day's numbers, still impressive, but nothing like they were. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, this is not a good, even though they're good numbers, it's not a good reflection of the incredible opportunity today. Now, Steve Gomez is calling me. You think you would know better than that? So, Jamie, do you agree with me? I mean,
absolutely,
yeah.
Because I mean, and Lord knows there's so many trades coming out now, and we can't view the blotter in real time, but it's coming. But anyway, once again, I'm about to start launching into, Holly philosophy here. So were there a couple that you wanted to go over first here, Andy, or how do you?
No, I'm going to look at a few of them during my next segment. So, and mostly the vault, all I'm talking about is the vault. So I'll probably look at a couple of those in the vault, but talk about whatever you want to, Jamie.
All right, so how about you want me to just go ahead and grab the...
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, just let me know when you can see.
I got it. Crystal. Did I lose you, Jamie?
Hey, sorry about that. I pulled
okay.
Talking into a muted microphone there.
Okay.
I said before I get rolling here, I better snooze all my messengers too, because people were pecking on me, and Steve's trying to call you. So anyway, okay. Hey, welcome to my desktop here. Got a hole there. I forgot that little guy lives there. In any case, before we just jump into the Holly trades here, one of our attendees earlier was talking about, or was asking a question about Holly, or basically giving me some commentary about observations on Holly, while Andy was speaking at the first part of the webinar there. In any case, I said I would speak a little bit about this when it was Holly time, and the comment is kind of the same one that we get a lot of the time, and Andy can attest to this. And it's like, well, it seems like a lot of these signals when Holly, signals, right? I'm just going to pull this up at random. I sorted by risk on here just so we can have something to look at here. I am on 15-minute candles here, and we can see today's action. And we can see right here a buy signal on HIIQ, which ended up being a very nice little winner. If you stayed in it to the close, you can see it closed up 2.83%. But let's take a look at the trade dynamics, because this is a perfect testament to what, this common thing that we always hear. And it's like, okay, I got the signal from Holly, but by the time I pulled it up, it had already run too much. I didn't want to chase it, and I can't seem to get these prices. And especially when you are a new user, and once again, if you're also a new user of this and kind of relatively new to the market, well, everything's about your frame of reference and perspective and whatnot. Since we're some older dudes and been, sitting in this chair in excess of 20 years each, kind of seen and done everything. Man, action's fast, especially in today's market, and it's completely different than the one that Andy and Steve and Dan and myself, cut our chops in. But the bottom line is this. Here we have one of the bigger winners today, and if we look at when Holly made the buy call here at 44.15, where the blue line is, well, yeah, you could have got a little chasey there from 44.15, even if you took a dime of slip, that's 25, and then at the top of the bar, yeah, I mean, nobody likes to chase, and then look what it does as soon as you chase it to the top. However, there are certain trade metrics in here for a purpose. Number one, the stop loss area down here, which, by the way, trade never got stopped out. Now, what happens here? We get a push immediately, and then we regress back down to the entry line and even trade below it. So you see, some trades will go immediately, and I'm sure we'll stumble onto one here in just a second. This one did not do that. Took a little pop, but then it took its time. This is a common characteristic in some of the Holly patterns and trades that you're going to see. Sometimes they go immediately. Those are always fun, whether it's a Holly trade or one of our manual trades. We're like, boom, I got it, and just ratchet on up. Hey, I'm up 50 cents to start the party. Makes me feel a lot better. But then, of course, we've got the greed and the fear demon. They sit on our left and right shoulder every day. So number one, we have to pay attention to the metrics that are established, because look at all the time you had to get the same price as Holly or even a better price as Holly. All right. One of the things that new users should get in the habit of, or it doesn't matter, I shouldn't say a new user. If you are a user of Holly, you should always get in the habit of looking at the things that she's down in and seeing how close they are to that stop. Has it tempted it and started to come back up here? Still plenty of time to get a better price or the same price as Holly before this, final leg where the majority of the move happens, right? So, keep that in mind. Your experience in the markets, your experience with Holly, and then the experience combined, because a lot of the times these first impressions, our brains work in kind of strange ways. Sometimes, well, what it reminds me of, Andy, is when we'd see a new trader come in after we'd gotten over the hump and, had started actually cranking out a living, and you see all the new people coming in, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And, one of the things that you would always notice is their perception and the fact that they knew they were right? Like Steve always likes to compare the attorneys, because they're taught to argue a case and, just never back down, and we saw literally nuclear physicists come in with these very specific trading plans and quickly, burn out, right? So we're setting up the guidepost with you here. Now, all of these trades, when they come out, let's just take another peek at another trade. Here's Holly again getting in. Boom. Look how it hugs that entry line for an hour before the larger portion of the move occurs. So also, this system was not designed, initially to be a holy grail. That's why the first version of Holly is called the Holy Grail. We're kind of making fun of that. But what you do have with Holly, taking into consideration that starting today there were about 7,500 stocks that our servers were watching, is that the trade count over here, and Andy, let's see if the trade count, did the trade count stay accurate? Let me just flip. And what Andy was talking about earlier, when I switched to a different segment here, well, I seem to be getting a little bit of lag, not as bad as it was earlier. So we'll let the trade count, okay. It looks like the trade count is a little off too. But we did have 14 here, so we had 37 and 14, 50-ish, maybe, if that's close to accurate. This cluster spit out like 90 trades today. But here's the way you need to think about it. Out of 7,500 potential candidates, and this was one of the busier days with 90-something trades. I mean, I can't even remember the last time it was that active. You're being brought to you, out of 7,500, 90 of the things that have extremely good statistical probability of working out, right? So think about it from those perspectives. You know, if you're going hunting, it makes sense to go to the most fruitful forest where that thing that you're hunting is going to be and be in abundance, right? And that's what Holly's doing each and every day, is she's bringing us this statistical abundance, so to speak, right? I think I might have just coined a new phrase there, Andy. What was the statistical abundance metric today? Was it high? Was it low? Was it right in between? Kind of reminds me of the compare accounts, but different. Okay, so enough of the waxing philosophical here. I hope that made sense or resonated with some people out there. Now let's talk about a little thing that we like to do here. Let me make sure I'm not hogging too much time here, Andy.
Not at all.
Talk about capturing some of this spread here between where we see, and let me just scoot this over here. Okay, so we got risk off over here. We're looking at Holly 2.0. I tell you what, less trades in Holly 1.0. Let's just go back to her. Definitely the more efficient module today. And that brings up a good point while we're waiting for Holly to load back up here. Holly Grail, the more conservative of the bunch. These guys are going to be the more aggressive brothers, or excuse me, sisters, right? Be a bit more aggressive and, you know, more aggressive on the risk management as well. So let's do this again. We'll sort up here. Now, capturing some spread between risk on and risk off. Now, we're going to circle back around to the HIIQ trade, because look here. Would have finished today of $1.25, almost 3%. But why didn't Holly make any money here in risk off? And I'll tell you here. Let's look at the exit reason. She got out for a profit save. Now, notice risk off trade time is going to correspond with this darkly shaded area right here. And remember, these are 15-minute candles. So she gets in, stays in for about 30 minutes plus whatever time this was. And the longer she stays in a trade and it doesn't work, she has the right to pull the plug prematurely. Now, that's okay, because that's what we programmed her to do. Her big portion of this is bringing us the statistically weighted entry, all right? We're better at exiting, or I should say, if you're an experienced chart reader and you've been doing this for a number of years, you're probably a little bit better on the exits, as I am, as Andy is, as Steve, and everybody else. So that's where we can decide to go risk on. If we're in the trade and it's just moving sideways, from any experienced trader's perspective, that's fine, because you know what? It hasn't stopped us out, and that's what the stop loss is designed for. If we're wrong on this move, this is where we want to take our hit, right? So we see Holly exit the trade here, and we're like, okay, well, I'm in it with her. She's pulling the plug, but she's just getting impatient. Now I can protect myself here. I can either A, stick with my original stop or tighten it up, but I would, if it were me, this is derived from statistical analysis, so I'm going to go with the statistics, right? I'm going to stick with it. So we see Holly getting out, and we simply do not get out. That's called going risk on. Going to stay in it, accept a little bit more risk, and voila, we would have been rewarded, right? Now, would we have gotten the whole $1.25 to the close if he's held to the close? But we can see it was a little bit higher than that. Now, did we get out up here? I don't know. out of all the people that were in this trade today, I'm sure there's a couple of individuals that top ticked it. That's also statistics. You're even going to do it sometimes. I'm going to do it. Andy's going to do it. But it's the anomaly and not the norm. But even if we, instead of flatting it with Holly, heck, even if we made 25 cents or 30 or 40, it's a big difference. Big difference from zero, right? And we didn't have to sit up here and crank out all these crazy things, these formulas and magic buttons and everything. All we had to do was abide by the rule set, right? Now, having said that, everybody out there is a little bit different in the trading style. The images that we look for in the form of charts, right? Because all we're doing is looking at the pictures that we want. This one fits. This one hasn't gone too far. Is the risk tolerable? Yes. Okay. Well, my image is there. That chart pattern is there. I'm gonna take it, right? So some people use Holly that way, right? Now, I don't know if there's one that's really clearly illustrated today. So let's go on over to, let's see here. We'll just jump right over to Neo real quick here. Because just in Holly 1.0, we had a couple that there was plenty of time to get that price. But what I really liked about this mix today was all the short activity, right? Market's vacillating. We're getting a lot more short signals than we used to. A beautiful little short. Now on this one, going back to the attendees' comments earlier, man, if you didn't act quickly on this one, well, these are 15-minute candles, so, going from here even all the way down to the bottom of that candle, sometimes you just have to hit the button if you want to be in it, right? We never know if they're going to drop in the case of a short immediately or go sideways. Plenty of shorts go sideways before they drop, just like plenty of stocks do that little sideways bull flag pattern before they take the next leg up. But here's a classic example of, man, talk about never even threw one wiggle pretty much once it got through that stop line or that entry line there, and just a nice, beautiful short. Now, once again, Holly closed out for 52 cents. If we stayed in at the close, it would be up $1 and a penny. But hey, plucking an extra 60 or an extra dime, nickel, quarter, by doing what we call the 50-50 method, which is a great way for a new person to get into the groove of this. We take the trade, say we're in a couple hundred shares, just like magic here, Holly gets out because of the timed exit, right? Downward dog was programmed around a 60-minute hold time, which we can see all of the strategies hold times right here, 60 minutes. So she stayed in it for the duration. She did what she was programmed to do, took that money right here, but we can do a little bit of both. We can plug out a half with Holly, keep the other half, adjust your stop loss accordingly, put a trailing stop, set it for break even, keep your original stop. Everybody's different. Whatever your preference is, you could have booked that profit. If you set a stop to the break even point on the second lot, you're just assuring that you're not going to let that winning trade turn into a loser. You get stopped out for a flat on the second lot, you still got the money on the first lot, but in this case, you would have been paid bonus alpha because it did continue. So, I hope you enjoyed my little philosophical wax there on, hey, what is Holly? Well, we know what it is literally, but, all of these things, all of these numbers, 90-something of the best entries that you could hope for in a universe of 7,500 stocks today. That's very powerful stuff, right? Very powerful stuff. And as far as we know, no one delivering it in this fashion. And we're going to continue to improve upon it. So thanks for listening. Andy, if you're ready, I'll kick it back over.
Yes, I'm sorry. I had it on mute. Come on over. Bring it on over to me. Or
here we go.
Grab it. All right. Let me go ahead and ask a few questions in here, or answer a few questions. Heidi asked, what is the algorithm that Holly uses? Does it uses moving average crossovers or other indicators, price action up or down, volume surges? That is a good question, Heidi. And to answer you, it's all of the above. We have so many different filter sets here at Trade Ideas. You know, well over 100, maybe well over 200. Gosh, it's been a long time since I counted. But at the end of each day, Holly will go and back test and optimize these strategies over and over and over against all these different scenarios. Now, the base strategies are something that we actually submit to her. She's got about 50 of them. They will be, you know, range breakouts, new high, different alerts, but the configuration, the filter configuration changes on a nightly basis. So even if we were, you know, to share these with you, there would be no good, because the next night these filters may be all different, because Holly is constantly optimizing, and that's what makes her artificial intelligence, is she is learning over and over each night. It's not a strategy we throw out there and works for several months. No, it's constantly being rebuilt. So with that said, Heidi, let me go down here. Peter did have a question. He actually didn't have a question. He wanted us to show a losing trade, and I'll be happy to do that for you. We tend to focus on the winners because there's more winners than losers, and they're more interesting. But let's give an example of this breakout right here, that SBNY. You can see here in risk off, it lost 9 cents, but in risk on, it lost 75 cents. So let's take a look and see what happened. All right, well, here's the signal, and it looks like a good one. You're looking at this daily chart, and it's like, wow, this is a turnaround candidate right here. Maybe having a good day, breaking through some resistance right here. And I can see why Holly took the trade. Look at this candle right here. All right, so the signal was at 112.51, moved higher, was in the money, and then all of a sudden we had a downdraft, and Holly got out for a small loser of only 9 cents, a very small percentage on $112 stock, and then of course it bled off with the market further in the day, and there's your 75-cent risk on loser. Now there's some that just don't work. This one right here, you know, tried to buy a breakout above this 2-day high right here, very strong looking chart, immediately went against us. Okay, this was a stop hit. Holly got stopped out right here. Now it went much lower, but Holly did get stopped out pretty quick on that one. But what you're going to find out over time, and this is documented and looked at by third parties, so you're going to find over time that Holly is going to beat the benchmark S&P 500 quite handily. So Peter wanted to share a loser with you there. Let me see if there's any, gosh, there's some questions in here. Jamie, you're getting a couple of them. Do I need to talk about either one of those?
Yeah, I'm kind of catching up here myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, the AI is using the backtester that Andy and I and everybody else use. I mean, that is a component of the AI. We taught this program how to backtest and how to go through the optimization process, because we realized how cumbersome it was. Even though we can power through these massive data sets, well, then you uncover the next layer of heavy lifting, because when your thing stops working, you got to sit down and maybe you spend 4 hours spinning, you know, the back tester, and you don't find anything. Well, that's what led us to invent the AI, which sits down and re-back tests its whole cluster of base strategies every night after we import all the tick data from today's trading. And it does this so many times across the board. I mean, literally, I mean, that is the thing, right? What we could not do, now it does, but, you know, does millions of times before the next session kicks in. So therein lies the true value, right? But yes, it's using the same fields in the back tester where you can put in slippage and commission rates.
Correct.
Of course, commission rates, I mean, trying to adjust that, I mean, everybody just has to apply that because everybody trades at different spots and everybody's got different rates. But we do give you the ability to factor that into the back test that you do manually.
Correct. Very well said, Jamie. All right, guys, we're going to have to move on from Holly. It's tough to do sometimes, but we got other things to talk about. Well, we're really not moving on from Holly because I'm talking about a strategy that is really hot right now. If any of you guys are in the trading room, I know, like I said earlier in this webinar, many people are just sitting around waiting for the vault. The vault is a strategy that's been in play now for, oh gosh, I guess about 3 weeks or something like that, a month at the most. Hasn't been around long, but it is killing it. And what I mean by that, it's we're getting a lot of target hits. In other words, we're hitting the profit target of $1 in this one a lot of times, and I'll go over through a few of those here in a minute. But what I wanted to do is take a look at the vault and see kind of what we are, if we can kind of just break it down by looking at it and see and maybe determine why it's so successful. So let's just take a look at a few trades here and see what we have in common. All right. Well, let's talk about this one right here where stop hit first. This was one that went off today. Looked like a potential, a bottom, maybe putting in a bottom, tried to sell off, reversed, and here was the signal, getting close to highs, and maybe even going positive soon. And you can see it didn't work out, and the stop was hit. Earnings date. Okay, that negative 25 means they had earnings yesterday after the close. All right, very important metric right there. There was the earnings date. So let's keep an eye on those as we go through these. Let's take a look at another vault. Let's take a look at CTMX. Once again, a stock that's kind of been down over the last several days, tried to sell off, bounced back. Here was our signal. Got about almost $1 worth of profits in it. Then it came all the way back to below flat and then came all the way back to close. You can see risk on, got close to up to the target again. Once again, what are we seeing? We're seeing volatility, okay? What's the earnings date over here? They had earnings yesterday after the close. MNTA. What are we seeing? More wicks, more volatility. All right, tried to sell off, and once again, down, tried to sell off, reversed, and just really never went anywhere. She got out for a risk off profit of 21 cents. So not bad there on the risk off if you look at the range, but didn't really go anywhere. You can see 8 cents to the good on risk on. So another, this is just today. Okay, I'm going to pull up a few other ones and see what we see. I just kind of went back into our back office here to look for ones that had a target hit on it. Now let's just pull them up real quick. RTRX. Now you can see right here, this is the buy signal. So this looks like about possibly 9 trading days ago. And look what we have over here on earnings date, 9/25. Selling off, try to sell off more that day, bounce back. We actually got a target hit on this day, even though it closed pretty close to our buy signal. There was enough volatility to get us a target hit on that. HZO, this is one right here. It looks like we had 2 signals. This one right here I know was the vault buy. And once again, look at the wicks. We're getting volatility. And also, if you look back over here, 975, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would have been an earnings play. So you're seeing a lot of earnings play in here, even though, guys, there's not an earnings filter in this algorithm. Okay, so in other words, it is not just looking for stocks that had earnings. It's looking for stocks that have some volatility, but not necessarily earnings. And of course, we know that earnings breed volatility in many cases. All right, CURO. This was just a few days ago. As a matter of fact, you look over here, 725. Another stock. You're seeing a pattern here, guys, where the stock has sold off for a few days, tries to sell off more, and then you get a reversal, and that's where the buy occurs, and that's where you get your volatility and your target hit. ADMS. 4 days ago. You can see earnings. Here was the buy, and boy, a lot of opportunity on this one. So no doubt this was a target hit. Now it did sell off, by the end of the day, but still a lot of alpha to be had on that trade right there. And I reiterate, another earnings play. We're seeing a lot of earnings play. So what it is, we do not have an earnings filter in this. It's looking for volatility. It's looking for a kind of almost like a reversal pattern. We can call it contrarian, if you will, because the stock is down on the day in most cases. And I have seen ones where they were up but very few. Most of them are down on the day, and it's a kind of a reversal contrarian play. Guys, if you're in here and you're just kind of checking us out for the first time, trust me, there's been traders doing very, very well on the vault. I've seen the testimonies. They've paid for their trade ideas for several years from now, just using the vault. Absolutely.
I mean, we're getting that comment a lot. They're like, oh, well, just having the vault is worth the subscription price. Of course,
David. Yeah, David just says me. So, it's been Waleed's making some good comments in there. Thank you, guys. But here's what I want to say, guys. I mean, we're going to be on top of this, and of course we have Holly on our side, who's going to be taking this and of course doing her magic each night in optimizing this. But it's like I told the guys, today, it looks like this may be some sort of, really beneficial during the earnings season, which would be fine. It's like good traders, you learn to be patient. Okay, if something only works a certain part of the time and then it stops working, which it will at some point, doesn't mean you can't come back. Maybe it's an earnings season's play, but regardless, it's I'm sure it's going to be around. It's been really successful lately, but there could be times where, in other words, I don't want you only just watching the vault, 365 days out of the year, because there could be times where it's performing, much less than what it's doing right now because of earnings season.
Yes,
but nonetheless, you agree, Jay? Mm-hmm.
Well, because we've all seen it before. You're like, something's working. Hey, it's all about longevity. What's the longevity? Is it going to work for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? Maybe it goes on a 3-month run. We just never know. And since Holly's getting in there and modifying it all the time, who knows? I mean,
that's right.
Hey, you do your work while the sun is shining, right? Until the sun doesn't shine on that anymore, and then you stop. But you brought up a very good comment there about patience. And Brett Steenbarger, who's going to be speaking at our summit coming up, one of his tweets that he put out today said, patience is also a form of action.
There you go. I never thought about that, but that's exactly right.
And I'm like, hey, don't know who said it initially, Rodin, I think, maybe. But, hey, just think about that. Patience is also a form of action. Good stuff.
Yeah, very good stuff. Very good stuff. But I wanted to, guys, let you know why we're getting a much larger percentage of target hits from this strategy versus the other ones, and it is because it's built to sniff out the volatility, and of course, volatility breeds profits, but it can also breed losses. But when you have an artificial intelligence as the likes of Holly, you're going to find that the odds are going to be stacked in your favor to really, maximize your profits based upon these alerts coming out, because, they're set up. They're set up with profit potential. They're set up with winning percentages. So even though we have a little glitch, and that we do apologize for seeing the all zeros on we're working on that right now, but believe me that they have to maintain a certain amount of winning percentage and profit factor to make the cut each day. So anyway, that let me make sure I'm seeing a lot of stuff being in the questions panel, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yes, Kenneth. Yes, we do not. We honestly, we don't know. How do we calculate commissions and slippage into a model like this? First of all, everybody's commissions are different in most cases.
Right. And this is the way. This is what I'll say about it. You know, there's always going to be slippage, right? The
Mhm.
price triggers when the event, which is the collection of filters and the alert, obviously when the filters all are met and then the catalyst assigned to that strategy fires, then there's a certain price that made that event trigger.
Mhm.
That event happened, that price is marked, the actual print from the time of sales is marked. That's what an alert window uses to mark the prices. That's what anything uses when that alert triggers, right? And Holly's using alert windows. That's what her strategies are, okay? So that's how the price is marked. Now, slippage is slippage, you know? If you've, I don't really, you know, I don't really see a better way to mark the price where the event happened other than the price where the event happened, right?
Mhm.
So
Sure.
that's what's being marked. Now, as far as what kind of formulas the AI is using or what kind of slippage is being built in real time, when you building in slippage is for expectations, okay? Building in slippage, it's like, all right, we're looking at a back test, right? We're not looking at a forward test. So if I create an event that comes in at 63%, you know, probability of the thing working, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to overblow slippage. I'm going to add a dime on the entry and a dime on the exit, because when you use that field in the odds maker, it applies it on the entry and the exit. So what I do when I'm trying to find manually good strategies is really overblow the slippage and see if there's anything left, right? Now,
Mhm.
Holly speaks for herself, man. These are the events that happen. Now, you know, we're not co-located at the exchanges, ladies and gentlemen. We're all out in the ether, and by the time the thing actually happens at the market center, by the time all the information gets distributed to us, is it going to be quote unquote real time? I think we all know the answer is no. Might get here in
Exactly.
a second. Might get here in 1.5 seconds. Maybe it's, you know, 2,000 milliseconds. But by the time you double click on it and eyeball it, and then the price has already moved another nickel or a dime, that's just the nature of the market. There's nothing that anybody can do about that.
Yes, very true. And Kenneth, yes, and I appreciate the fact that obviously you're a longtime trader like myself and Jamie.
Same year, 96.
Yeah. Now, when we do put out our documentation, our press releases on Holly, okay, and we run the numbers, we do factor in commissions. I can't remember exactly how much it is, but it's fair. Uh, I don't think we do slippage because we have a lot of contrarian strategies in here, and I've shown in here time and time again where you can get better, you know, much better feels than the alert that you're seeing from Holly. Yes, some of the momentum plays, there's going to be some slippage. Obviously, we know that, but I've shown time and time again, like I said, where you can get better prices than Holly gets. So, you know, it's just tough. But what we will show this, I mean, Jamie was running some numbers the other day, and like for every alert that came out on Holly, it was like, and it's not just one day. Jamie, you were doing it for several days, where the like it's like an average of you know, 15 cents.
15 for a couple of days on two of the tamer days, but you know, on some of the more active days, we'd kick up to like 24 cents a share, right?
Yeah.
So just on a per share basis of, you know, a big pie of opportunity being brought to you, and the pie consists today of 90 different slices, 90 different stocks, which leads me to another comment, which is, you know, when we do enable people to automate Holly, and that is coming down the pipeline, but there's a lot of things we have to make sure are working, and, you know, lots of T's to cross and I's to dot before we would ever turn that technology loose. But, you know, from a slippage standpoint, we're not trading in real time. Yeah, everybody says real time, right? But there is a significant delay, you know, since we're not what they call co-located. We're not HFTs, you know, looking to be in and out of the stock in, you know, 10, 20, 30 seconds.
Right.
but it's a statistical. Imagine you're opening your own little hedge fund on an intraday basis, where when Holly puts on a long bias on a lot of these days, we don't see hardly any shorts. Okay, well I'm going with an AI, which is going in essence with the market, and I'm long, but I'm long 20 something different things to spread the risk out, right? From a statistical standpoint. And assuming you have the right commission structure, which that's why we partnered with IB in the first place, because they are the largest retail outfit out there and the most competitive commission rates. So in the future, you don't have to be worried about, oh, well, I'm going to be in 20 positions today. Yeah, but you're only going to be throwing $1,000 at each one, or whatever your risk tolerance is. For some people, it's $5,000, $10,000. But hey, being diversified in a $20,000 portfolio 20 different times in statistically probable events, that sounds pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm. And I will add this. Not everybody. I mean, I will say this: the majority of our clients, I don't know what I'm not exact percentage, so I'm not going to throw a number out, but the vast majority of them get premium because of our AI. But there's plenty of traders out there that like their own gig, and they like to set up their own strategies and play those. That's fine. That's whatever your niche is going to be. And at the same time, to answer your question, Kenneth, which we get a lot, is can you automate Holly? No, you cannot automate Holly. It's coming soon, but it has to be tested. It's still it's really still in its not incubation, but its infancy stages, where we have to do some testing, and that's why we added the 3 Hollies to eventually probably break it down, to auto trading. So we're heading in that direction, but gosh, no ETA whatsoever. But as a trader, like many guys in the room right now, they're just sitting around waiting for the vault. There's some other great strategies out there. You can see trend change play did pretty good today. But let's see. I think Heidi had a question over here that I missed. Let me make sure I get it. Oh no, Marguerite asked if is vault a standard trading term? No, it's not. The vault, when I first heard it, I thought it was talking like a bank vault. It's where all the money is, but it's actually coined from more of a kind of like a vault, like a gymnast would do, or a pole vaulter, that kind of vault.
Right, momentum that pole generates, then back and whoosh. There's a lot of these go, into I think it was Kenneth's comments. Yeah, some of these, man, some of them are going to move so fast you're going to be like, if I could have only been there sooner, right? Sometimes they pull back. Sometimes you can get some great pullback fills. Other times just things move too fast and hardly anybody gets them unless you had a strategy that found the same signal and were able to automate it. But then again, I'm just rambling on that. But in any case, it's all good what's happening here, and the addition of the other 2 Hollies, was definitely something that we had in the pipeline that we had to get done before, we could start offering automation, because as you might hypothesize here, there's a lot of talk when you're talking about doing something like that. Oh, well, what about market impact? Especially as in these thin markets, we don't want to cause a bunch of chaos, and then you'd have somebody running market orders all the time and then buying the tops. And so there's a lot of education and planning and things of that nature that we need to get kind of ironed out before we would, give this to our users, because we want to make sure they use it responsibly, I guess is the best term.
Let me get to Bill's questions real quick, because he's asked it a couple of times. And Bill, Jamie, I don't know. He's talking about channel 1 and the channel bar. This is something new that I've seen, and I do not know how to do that yet.
We were talking about this the other day. Sorry, Bill. Right now, those channel 1 and channel 2 little channels up there, they're not functioning, because when and we were talking about this the other day, even when I right click on them, there's no way to program them. There's no way to make anything stick. So give us a few more, hopefully days, weeks, I don't know. They're looking
I didn't even know they had those yet in their version.
Yeah. So
Okay.
apologies, those aren't fully functional yet. We don't even know how to work them yet. So you're not alone.
Okay. You're welcome, Bill. No problem. Yes, we will. Trust me. As soon as I find out, I usually won't wait for the question. I'll have it part of the presentation. But yeah, we're kind of a little in the dark. They keep throwing stuff at us, left and right. But it's great. It's great for you guys. Our development department is just banging away with more and more cool stuff to our software, and that's what makes Trade Ideas great. So. With that said, thank you, Mike C. I appreciate it. I'm going to bring in Scott. You guys hang on. I know he's going to have a discount for you. So, Scott, if you'd like to come on back on and walk us out of here.
Yeah, thanks. A couple items on the way out. What's sliding on there? The ebook. Yes, there is an ebook. Andy and Jamie both contributed chapters. It's got 5 ways to win in a post-BTFD market. So when the market's rocky, a little uncertain, you got some strategies in your back pocket to use. It's easy and free to get. Just go to trade-ideas.com/ebook, put in your email address, and you'll get the download link delivered to your inbox, and then keep it handy. It's a PDF, and you can refer to it whenever you need. We have a podcast that comes out on Fridays. Make sure you stay tuned for that and that you're subscribed. So go ahead and search for Trade Ideas Podcast in your favorite app you use to listen to podcasts. It should pop right up. Hit the subscribe button. And you get the most recent episode, and then you're set to get the next one. And you can also cruise through the archives and look at the different guests we've had and listen to some of those. We do have a discount code that's good this month, Hot Summer. It needs to be all caps because it's case sensitive, but that takes 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas, so it's a great savings off the annual premium. You can also use this when you're upgrading from standard to premium from the upgrade page, and just use that when you're doing the upgrade, and it'll save the same amount off the first installment of your new premium subscription. Thanks, Andy. Thank you, Jamie. We'll have a recording of this up later on tonight or tomorrow morning. Any questions, just email info@trade-ideas.com. That goes into our help desk software for routing to the appropriate team member. And then you can follow Jamie on Twitter @QuantBot. We've also got Steve Gomez at Today Trader, and @TradeIdeas is another one. Facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro is the page to like on Facebook for all our updates that you can share with your friends. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Jamie. Have a good one. Thanks, all.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everybody, for coming. See you later.